You believe self-awareness is growth. It isn't. It is observation. And observation, by itself, changes nothing. You understand your patterns. You can name your triggers. You know where your behavior comes from and why you react the way you do. Yet your life looks almost the same. The same emotional loops. The same hesitation. The same avoidance. The same standards you keep lowering in quiet moments. That is not a lack of intelligence. It is a lack of disruption. Self-awareness feels powerful because it creates clarity. It gives language to chaos. It allows you to step back and analyze yourself instead of being completely consumed by your impulses. But clarity is not transformation. You can fully understand why you procrastinate and still procrastinate. You can identify your attachment style and still choose the same emotional dynamic. You can trace your fear back to childhood and still let that fear dictate your decisions. Because awareness lives in the mind. Change threatens identity, and identity is what your nervous system protects. Most people believe they are stuck because they don't know enough. In reality, they are stuck because acting differently would destabilize who they think they are. If you have built an identity around being anxious, overthinking, intense, guarded, misunderstood, or emotionally complicated, then letting go of the pattern feels like letting go of yourself. Even if the pattern hurts you, this is where self-awareness quietly becomes avoidance. You sit with insight. You reflect. You journal. You analyze conversations after they happen. You watch your reactions from a distance and say, I see what I'm doing. But seeing is not interrupting. Real change begins when you violate your own comfort. That violation feels wrong at first. It feels unnatural. It feels like you are betraying your instinct. Because you are. Your current behaviors were built to protect you. Anxiety protects you from risk. Emotional distance protects you from rejection. Procrastination protects you from failure. Overworking protects you from feeling unworthy. These patterns are not random. They are defenses that once made sense. Awareness allows you to see the defense, but action requires you to lower it. And lowering a defense feels unsafe. This is why self-awareness alone plateaus. You can become highly articulate about your wounds and still remain unchanged. You can speak with depth about your limitations and still operate within them. The mind understands long before the nervous system agrees. Your nervous system does not care about insight. It cares about familiarity. Familiar stress feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Familiar chaos feels safer than unfamiliar stability. Familiar disappointment feels safer than unfamiliar possibility. So you stay within the range of what feels known. You think you are waiting for motivation. You think you are waiting for confidence. You think you are waiting for clarity. But what you are actually waiting for is comfort. And growth does not arrive comfortably. It arrives when you act before you feel aligned. When you set the boundary before you feel strong. When you show up before you feel ready. When you stop explaining yourself and simply choose differently. That is when identity begins to shift. Behavior rewires belief. Not the other way around. If your external life looks almost identical year after year, then your awareness is not translating into behavior. And that is not a moral failure. It is protection. You are protecting an identity that once kept you safe. The deeper question is not, why am I not changing? The deeper question is, what would I lose if I did? Who would you outgrow? What version of yourself would collapse? What expectations would no longer fit? Growth always involves loss. It involves releasing a version of yourself that feels known. And the known, even when painful, feels stable. This is why people circle insight for years. They collect realizations. They refine language. They become perceptive. But their decisions remain predictable. Predictable decisions create predictable lives. You do not need another breakthrough. You need a disruption. A visible one. A behavior that contradicts your usual pattern. A response that interrupts your default reaction. A choice that slightly unsettles you. It does not need to be dramatic. It needs to be consistent. Identity changes through repetition of new behavior, not through repetition of new thoughts. If you already know what you should be doing differently, then you are no longer blocked by awareness. You are blocked by hesitation. And hesitation is usually fear wearing an intelligent mask. It tells you that you are still preparing, that you need one more insight, that you are almost ready. But preparation can become a hiding place. At some point, growth demands visible evidence. It demands that you speak differently, choose differently, end differently, begin differently. The version of you that feels safe will resist this. It will argue calmly. It will rationalize. It will suggest waiting a little longer. But safety is not the same as alignment. You already understand your patterns. The real shift begins when you act against them in real time. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just consistently enough that your nervous system starts to learn something new. Self-awareness is powerful, but only when it leads to behavior that makes the old identity slightly unstable. You are not stuck because you lack insight. You are stuck because insight has not yet been followed by action. And once you accept that, the path becomes clearer. Not easier, but clearer.